In the 1970 to 1971 season, Manchester City was not just a football team. They were a symbol of a strong rise, under the hands of the legendary duo Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison. The Citizens had just emerged from the glory of the European Cup Winners' Cup and the League Cup the previous year, with a generation of talented, gallant players and a fiery, liberal attacking style of play. They thrilled the fans. That year's squad not only achieved success in terms of titles, but also became an unforgettable part of memories, a true golden generation. But then, when the stadium lights went out, each hero of that year walked on their own separate paths of fate. More than 50 years have passed. Let me turn the pages of the lives of the 9 names on the competition list that year to see the colorful picture of human life. Joe Corrigan is the first person we mention as the giant in the goal. In the 1970 to 1971 season, this 22-year-old young man played 34 matches, asserting his number 1 position. With a height of nearly 1.93 m and a long arm span, Corrigan was a majestic stopper, a real rock that made every opposing striker wary. Although his career started somewhat erratically and under a lot of pressure, with extraordinary determination, Corrigan turned criticism into motivation to become one of the best goalkeepers in the club's history. He not only caught the ball, he commanded the defense with a shout that echoed throughout the stands, being a solid spiritual support for his teammates above. After that season, Joe Corrigan continued to devote his most brilliant youth to the blue shirt. He was with Manchester City for 16 years, experiencing many ups and downs, from the peak of glory to the days when the team declined. When he hung up his gloves, Corrigan did not choose to rest. He used his valuable experience to become a prestigious goalkeeper coach, working at big clubs such as Liverpool or West Bromwich Albion. His personal life is a model of simplicity and dedication. He stayed away from noisy scandals, focusing on his expertise and family. His calmness and steadfastness in the goal seemed to have translated into his personality in real life, a trustworthy and humble man. Today, at the age of 76, Joe Corrigan is enjoying a peaceful retirement. He still regularly appears at Etihad Stadium as an ambassador of the club. His hair has turned white, but his gentle smile and handshake are still as warm as ever, continuing to inspire generations of young goalkeepers. Ron Healy embraced the role of a quiet star in the shadow of Joe Corrigan. At just 18 in the 1977 season, the Irish goalkeeper had already made 9 appearances in goal for Man City. A remarkable return for a young player in the most vulnerable position in the squad. Healy had quick reflexes and youthful courage. Despite living in the shadow of Corrigan, Healy played with enthusiasm whenever given the chance, proving that he was not just a backup, but a promising talent for Irish football. Leaving Manchester City in search of more regular playing opportunities, Healy moved to Cardiff City and became an important part of the Welsh team, even having the honor of representing the Republic of Ireland national team. However, his playing career was ended early due to persistent injuries, the nightmare of every athlete, not giving up on fate. Healy moved into coaching and management, even working in the field of sports equipment distribution. He lived a quiet life, working hard and raising his children. His son also followed a football career. He is a testament to the players who did not reach the pinnacle of global fame, but still lived their passion to the fullest. However, the journey of this dedicated goalkeeper stopped on June 19, 2018. Ron Healy passed away at the age of 65. His passing may not have shocked the world, but for Cardiff and Man City fans who witnessed him play it, was the loss of a man who always burned with love for the game. Mike Doyle, the purest blue blood in the world. took charge of the center of the defense in 1970 to 1971. At the age of 24, Doyle was already a seasoned warrior with 37 appearances and 5 goals, an incredible number for a center back. Doyle didn't just defend, he fought. He hated defeat and especially hated Manchester United. Doyle's fiery fighting spirit, fearlessness in contact, and his fierce aerial made him the soul of the defense, a captain who didn't need an armband to urge his teammates forward. Doyle's career at Man City was an epic one, full of domestic titles. After retirement, the life of this warrior was not so smooth. He struggled with health problems and the fight against alcoholism, a tragedy common to the generation of players at that time when they tried to fill the void after the halo faded. Despite his turbulent private life, his love for Man City never faded. He was always a part of history, a symbol of loyalty and determination. But then the body of the Iron Warrior also had to succumb to time and illness. On June 27, 2011, Mike Doyle passed away at the age of 64 due to liver failure. His departure left endless sorrow, but the name Mike Doyle will forever be engraved as one of the greatest sons of the blue half of Manchester. Willie Donachie was a presence on the left flank, the 19-year-old Scottish lad. In the 7071 season, Donachie had only just begun to break into the first team with 11 appearances, but he had already left an impression as an intelligent defender with good individual technique and excellent reading of the game. Unlike many defenders of that era, Donachie played with his mind calm and precise. He represented a generation of talented young players being nurtured to follow in the footsteps of their seniors, a rough diamond that was gradually being polished to shine. After that pivotal season, Donachie rose to become a true legend of the club with over 350 appearances. When he retired, he successfully transitioned into a coaching role, working at many teams such as Oldham Athletic, Sheffield Wednesday, and even in the youth system of Man City. Donachie's life was closely linked to the pitch. He devoted his life to imparting knowledge and experience to the next generation. He was known as a dedicated, calm, and profound teacher. Currently, at the age of 73, Willie Donachie still maintains his clarity and love for football. Although he has retired behind the scenes, his legacy as a talented left-back and an exemplary teacher is always mentioned with respect by fans and students. Colin Bell, king of the Kippax stand, was the soul of the team. At 24, Bell was at the peak of his powers with 34 appearances and 13 goals in the 7701 season. He was the heart and lungs of the team. People called him Nijinsky, the name of a legendary racehorse because of his endless stamina and his graceful steps that seemed to glide across the grass. Bell was present at every hotspot, both recovering the ball, creating and scoring goals. He was the kind of complete midfielder that English football rarely produces, a true artist, but also an extraordinary athlete. However, fate was too cruel to this genius. A horrific knee injury in 1975, due to a tackle by Martin Buchan, robbed Bell of his peak career when he was not yet 30 years old. Despite his efforts to return after 2 years of painful treatment, Nijinsky never ran as before. Away from the field, Colin Bell chose an extremely private and humble life. He refused the spotlight, rarely gave interviews, lived quietly with his family, and participated in quiet, charity activities. The contrast between an explosive superstar on the field and a shy, quiet man in real life made people love him even more. A stand at Etihad Stadium was named after him to honor his great contributions. However, on a sad afternoon on January 5, 2021, Colin Bell passed away at the age of 74 after a short illness. The king has passed away, but his throne in the hearts of Man City fans will never be replaced. Tony Towers was the key figure alongside Bell, a promising 18-year-old. With 34 appearances that season, Towers proved to be a vital cog in Man City's winning machine. He had a mature playing style beyond his years, good passing ability, and a sharp tactical mind. Towers was expected to be the future of the team's midfield, the one to share the fire and continue the legacy of his seniors. His performance that year was a testament to the club's excellent youth development at the time. However, fate took Towers' career in a different direction when he was part of the blockbuster and controversial transfer that later brought Rodney Marsh to Man City. Towers moved to Sunderland and went on to have a remarkable career, even being called up to the England squad. After retiring Towers chose to withdraw completely from the spotlight. He did not pursue a career as a coach or commentator, but lived a quiet, reclusive life. Little is known about him in the media, as if he wanted to keep his best memories to himself. Now, at the age of 72, Tony Towers is living out his old days quietly, a quiet hero who contributed to a memorable season, although his name is sometimes overshadowed by bigger stars. Mike Summerbee was the winger also known as Buzzer. At 28, Summerbee was one of England's most dangerous strikers. He played 26 games and scored 4 goals. He was not only a skillful crosser, but also a big personality on the pitch. Summerbee was famous for his mischievous playing style, provoking opponents, and tricky dribbling. He was also the best friend of the legendary George Best of Man Utd, creating the most famous playboy duo of the time. On the pitch, he was fire, enthusiasm, and arrogance. Away from the pitch, Mike Summerbee has proven himself to be more than just a footballer. He has become a successful businessman in the fashion industry with his own shirt brand, and even starred in the classic film Escape to Victory with Sylvester Stallone and Pele. His life is vibrant, colorful, and full of laughter. He balances his business perfectly with his role as a global ambassador for Manchester City. Today, at the age of 81, Mike Summerbee is still healthy and sharp. He is the face of the club, appearing at every home game, a living bridge between Man City's glorious past and brilliant present. He is proof that a player with personality can age gracefully and with satisfaction. Freddie Hill, 30, is an experienced big brother in a young and energetic squad. He has arrived from Bolton and brings a calm and intelligent presence to the midfield. With 23 appearances and 2 goals, he is a key strategic player for Joe Mercer. Hill is not too quick, not too strong, but he knows how to control the tempo of the game, hold the ball up, and deliver a killer pass. He is a player who plays with his head, a reliable transit station when the team is stuck. After the 7071 season, Hill continued his journey as a professional player at Peterborough United before retiring. His post-football life returned to its original simplicity. He did not seek fame, but was satisfied with what he had contributed. Hill lived a quiet life as a family man, cherishing the memories of the days playing alongside legends at Main Road. Although not a superstar, his silent contributions were always recognized. However, the law of time spares no one. On October 1st, 2021, Freddie Hill passed away at the age of 81. His departure was as gentle as the way he played football, closing the journey of a hard worker who contributed solid bricks to the team's success. Francis Lee. Lee. One pen was the perfect piece for the attack. At 26 years old, Lee was a fearsome scoring machine with 38 appearances and 14 goals. Although not tall, Fat Lee nickname had a low center of gravity, a fierce dribbling ability, and a superb ability to win penalties. He played with such determination that he was aggressive, always rushing forward like an arrow. Francis Lee was the embodiment of the desire to win, someone who always knew how to shine in big matches with important goals. Unlike many of his colleagues who struggled financially after retiring, Francis Lee was a brilliant businessman. He built a multi-million-pound toilet, paper and diaper empire, becoming a self-made millionaire. He even returned to become the chairman of Manchester City during the turbulent 90s. Although his tenure as chairman was controversial, no one can deny his passionate love for the club. He lived a glorious life, successful in both business and football, always maintaining the demeanor of a big boss. However, the evil lung cancer defeated that strong man. On October 2nd, 2023, Francis Lee breathed, his last at the age of 79. His passing left a huge void. But the story of a mischievous striker becoming a brilliant businessman will forever be an endless source of inspiration. Tony Book skipper captain, a veteran with a lot of experience. The strangest thing about Tony Book in the 1970 to 1971 season was his age. At that time, he was 36 years old, an age when most players at that time had retired. But Book was not. He played 34 matches as resilient as a tank. He was the most beautiful late bloomer of English football who only started playing professionally when he was over 30, but became an irreplaceable spiritual leader. With his intelligent, calm playing style and masterful ability to read situations, Book was the leader, the voice of reason in a group full of explosive egos like Lee or Summerby. After retiring, Tony Book's life was tied to Manchester City like destiny. He became the team's most successful coach in the pre-Arab era and then took on countless roles from youth training to ambassadorship. He was revered by fans as Mr. Manchester City. His life is proof of the saying, "The older the ginger, the spicier it is." He had no scandals, no flashiness, only dedication, lasting more than half a century. Today, at the age of 90, Tony Book is still a living monument. He still regularly appears in the Etihad stands, respectfully welcomed by his juniors. He is a link in great history, a witness to the team from the muddy, rainy days at Main Road to the bright lights of today's Champions League trophies. Alan Oakes was the silent heartbeat of Tony Book. In the 7071 season at the age of 28, Oakes played 30 games. He was not the one to perform fancy step-overs or unleash thunderous shots, but he was never absent when the team needed him. Oakes played as an anchor midfielder, diligently recovering the ball and passing it to Bell or Lee to shine. He was the typical worker player, disciplined, durable, and extremely professional. It was this incredible consistency that helped him set an eternal record. The player with the most appearances in Manchester City history with 680 games. After leaving Main Road, Oakes moved to become a coach at Chester City, where he was credited with discovering and giving the legendary Ian Rush his chance. Oakes' private life was as quiet as his playing style. He avoided all media attention, living a simple, humble life. He was rarely seen in the press talking about his past. It seemed that for Oakes, playing football was the greatest reward, and he did not need any more accolades. Now, at the age of 82, Alan Oakes is enjoying a peaceful old age. He is a testament to the value of loyalty and perseverance, a legend who does not need the spotlight to be remembered. Neil Young, the magic left-footer. In 1970 to 1971, at the age of 26, Young was one of the most important players in the attack with 24 appearances. He possessed a skillful left foot, elegant volleys, and a knack for scoring in big matches. He was the one who scored the decisive goal in the 1969 FA Cup final and the 1970 Cup Winners' Cup. Neil Young played like a ballet dancer, gentle but sharp. He was the hero of decisive moments, the one who brought home titles with his sophistication. However, Neil Young's life after football was a sad note, reflecting the harsh reality of players in the past. After retiring, he encountered many financial and life difficulties. having to do many manual jobs such as moving houses or selling insurance to make a living. There was a time when the hero of the year felt forgotten by the very team he had once devoted himself to. But the love of the fans never faded. In the last years of his life, the club and fans welcomed him back with open arms, grateful for his great contributions. But then the terrible cancer took him away. On February 3rd, 2011, Neil Young passed away at the age of 66. His passing left behind grief and remorse about cherishing legends. The red and black scarf, the color of the away shirt he wore when scoring the final, became a symbol at his funeral, reminding him of a talented but ill-fated left-footed player. Glyn Pardoe is a story of a prodigy and the tragedy of injury. He was the youngest player ever to play for Man City at the age of 15 in the 1970 to 1971 season. At the age of 24, Pardoe was a mainstay on the wing, but it was during this season, December 1970, in a derby against Man U, a terrible tackle from George Best broke Pardoe's leg in two. The injury was so terrible that doctors feared he would have to amputate it. Although Pardoe made a miraculous comeback after 2 years, he was never the same again. After being forced to retire early, Pardoe did not leave the team. He turned to coaching for the youth team, silently contributing for decades. His life has an interesting, fateful connection. His daughter married the son of his teammate Mike Doyle, and his grandson Tommy Doyle is now a professional player, continuing the blue blood of both men. Glyn Pardoe lived the life of an optimistic man, not blaming fate for the injury years ago. However, on May 26, 2020, Glyn Pardoe suddenly passed away at the age of 73. He passed away leaving behind a story of extraordinary determination of a man who overcame the risk of disability to once again touch the ball. Tommy Booth, the silent giant. Only 21 years old in the 7,771 season, Booth had already made 36 appearances. Tall, strong, and dominating the air, Booth was the perfect partner for Mike Doyle. He was renowned for his aerial prowess, not only in defense, but also as a deadly weapon in corners. Booth was the epitome of calm and solidity, a classic reliable center back that any team would crave. After leaving Man City for Preston North End, Booth continued to play consistently until his retirement. Away from the field, his life became peaceful and private. He did not choose the path of becoming a media celebrity, but enjoyed a simple life with his family. Tommy Booth represents players who play for joy and responsibility, and when the curtain closes, they are satisfied to return to being a normal person. Currently at the age of 75, Tommy Booth is still living a healthy life. He occasionally appears at former player meetings, carrying the gentle smile of a giant who spent his youth protecting the home team's goal.